Currently walking through Brooklyn on my way to the studio. I got a pretty hectic day today, man. I gotta go to, so if y'all don't know, WTF has multiple locations. We got a Soho location and we got a Midtown location. And I'm gonna start my day off at the Midtown location. Then I'm gonna go to the Soho location. Then I gotta go back to the Midtown location. And then I gotta go home. I tried to get somebody to cover my Midtown shift, so at least I ain't have to go back more than once, but they ain't wanna do it. So we gonna make the most of it. But as always, today's gonna be a great day. Perception is reality, like I'm not happy about the fact that I gotta go to one studio and then another studio back and forth. I'm not happy about that, but what I'm gonna do? At the end of the day, I'm just glad I got a job. And this is what comes with having a job. Sometimes you gotta do some shit that you don't wanna do, and that's okay. So with that being said, we're gonna get this day started, man. We must stay healthy. Yeah, so today gonna be one of them busy days, man. I'm at the Midtown location right now. Then I'm gonna leave and go downtown to the Soho location. Then I gotta come back to Midtown, and then I gotta go home. So it's a busy day. Before I complain about what I gotta do with my job, I'm just happy I got a job. So I don't really have a lot of downtime in between my sessions, but I'm gonna try to see if I can sneak an episode in there. Last episode was about outgrowing your friends. This episode, we're gonna see if we can get this one to be about extending your parents' grace. Because a lot of kids are assholes. Like when people say they don't want to have kids, I understand what they're saying, because kids is kind of ungrateful bitches sometimes. So if you don't want to be an ungrateful bitch of a kid, listen to this episode and maybe you can find some more grace for your parents, because raising kids is hard. Hey Alexa, open the blinds. The lunch for the day, nice little watermelon. Man, it's crazy to think that I've been an engineer at the studio for like 4 years now, maybe going on 5. It's a crazy thing, because I remember when I first got to New York City, bro, like I was scared to catch the train by myself. I wouldn't even catch the train, so I would take the train from Connecticut to Grand Central, and then I would just walk around Grand Central Station. If I couldn't get there by feet, I wasn't going, because I've always had a fear of being lost. I think just some trauma that I might have got when I was a kid, but being lost is something that I used to be afraid of. And I remember walking through the city with so much anxiety in my chest. It was like a permanent anxiousness that rested on my chest for at least like the first 3 months while I was living here, because I was just always fearful. I was always anxious and nervous about, like, what if my phone dies? What if anything, right? I'm on a train and I'm looking at people looking at me, and I feel like they notice that I'm not from here. Now that I've been here for almost 5 years, they definitely knew that I wasn't from here, because it's just it's a certain type of glow you give off when you new here, probably because you're just paying attention to everything. You don't know, everything's interesting to you because you're seeing it for the first time. And, you know, people that are from here, you know, they don't really pay attention to things. They're always aware of their surroundings, but nothing's really new. Somebody's shooting a movie, who gives a fuck? Somebody's walking down the street butt-ass naked, who gives a fuck? It doesn't really matter. But it's interesting to think that I've been here for so long, because when I first got here, I remember all I wanted to do was put myself in a position where I could take care of myself financially, creatively. Because in Texas, I already know what it's like to have a job where people are making you feel nervous about having your hair locked up or wearing it in a bun, or having your tattoos exposed, or just coming to work being as you are. You know, like right now, I come to work dressed how I want to every single day. I always got my Birkenstocks on. I always got jeans on, wearing my merch, you know what I mean? I don't gotta wear no uniform. You know what my uniform is? Me. It's my brand. And my bosses are okay with that. And that's one of the best things about working for a black-owned business, because, well, I can't speak for all black-owned businesses, but for this black-owned business here, they really create a safe space for you to feel comfortable. They really create a safe space for you to be who you want to be. You know, as long as you're doing your job, as long as the customer's happy, as long as ain't nobody sending no emails back to them, they're gonna let you rock out. And you know, this is everything that I never knew that I could even have. I mean, I thought that I was gonna come to New York City and get a job at like the Breakfast Club, or I thought I was gonna get a job at Hot 97 and be up there with Peter Rosenberg and Ebro and them. You know, that's what I wanted. And I would have loved that outcome, you know? But when I got here, I realized, like, man, it's not going to be that simple. And getting positions at them jobs are actually a lot harder than you think. But what did end up happening, shout out to God, because this is how God works. Instead of me getting what I wanted, God gave me something better. Because when I first got to New York City, there was no WTF Media Studios. I was working for Weezy and Mandy way before they even created the studio, shooting vlogs for them, kind of like I'm doing right now. And speaking of vlogs, before I even get to the vlogs, it's crazy that I've been in this job for 4 years. I met so many celebrities, so many people that I'm huge fans of when it comes to actors. I met Ryan Reynolds. I met J. Cole's manager. 2 Chainz has been here. You know, Luke from Dreamville has been there. So many great people, so many musicians, so many athletes, so many important people in politics, in the scientific world, in the financial education world. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I've met Earn Your Leisure, Rashad, Troy, 19 Keys, Shadi, everybody. I guess I just say all of that to say that trust and believe when you don't know the way God does, because I never would have ever imagined that when I was walking around Harlem with my homie James, splitting a slice of pizza, quite literally. You know what I mean? Like hanging out in coffee shops all day because we didn't have the money to be nowhere else, and it was hot outside, and we could be in a Starbucks where it's AC and Wi-Fi, and we can afford 1 cup of coffee because all you need to do is buy one thing in Starbucks to be there all day. Starbucks was my office for years. For years. Even when I lived in Dallas, I could go to a Starbucks, I could open up my laptop, and I could just chill for hours. As long as it wasn't too cold up in that motherfucker, because you already know. Yeah? You know what? I always wonder with you cafes and you coffee shops, like, do y'all put the AC on purpose to get people up out of there? Because if you did, it definitely worked. But you know, long are the days since been gone that I had to be in a coffee shop all day. Now I could be in a podcast studio. Multiple podcast studios. If I wanted to go to the LA location, all I gotta do is fly there. I can be there too. And it's just such a blessing. And I never seen this happening for myself. You know, like I knew what I wanted. I wanted Breakfast Club. I wanted Hot 97. God gave me something better. Let me tell you how much better God gave it to me. I'm working at a black-owned podcast studio, the first of its kind. See, at least with Breakfast Club and Hot 97, you think about it, like radio stations have always been a thing. Now, none of them have ever been quite like those 2 legendary shows, but my point is that I am one of the most recognizable faces at the most popular black podcast studio in the world. In the world, like let's think about that. So I'm asking God to give me this. God was like, why don't you just wait for a second, because I'm gonna give you this. I'm gonna give you this, and I want you to realize that this is somewhere in your life story for you. You think you want this, but gotta give you this. I want to be around Charlemagne and all them all day. You know how many times I've met Charlemagne at WTF Media Studios? Charlemagne know my name. At least I think you do. You know what I mean? We've definitely spoken a handful of times. Life is, listen, all you gotta do is you gotta keep working. You gotta keep working. It was days, man, I ain't know if I was gonna have a place to stay in New York City. I didn't. And we could talk about that later. But as bad as it could have gotten, it never got the worst that it could get. And even if it does get super bad, you got to trust God through that anyway. Lean not to your understanding and trust in all the ways that I do. I think that's the book of Ephesians somewhere in the Bible. You got to trust God and understand that what you think is best for you, God has better plans for you. God always has better plans for all of us. The better plan is always in store for us, but all we have to do is keep working. Faith without works is dead. You can have all the faith you want to have, but what are you doing? Are you moving your feet? Are you building with your hands? Are you collecting information with your mind? You know, this is what's needed for God to collaborate with you. I really don't see God just blessing somebody who does absolutely nothing. And sometimes it might look like you're doing nothing to the world, but they don't know you thinking. They don't know you praying. They don't know that you're manifesting and you setting your goals and your intentions. Listen, as long as you're doing something, just do something. You got to do something and God is going to deliver it to you. I never saw this in my plans. I never saw working at this podcast studio in my future, and yet here I am. And I say all that to say, now I'm thinking about what's next for me. It's crazy, like, a life's dream for me was to come to New York City. And now I live in New York City. And now I've been here like 4 or 5 years. And I think it's time to move on to something else. And I don't really know what that something else is, but I think it's time. Actually, I do what I think that something else is. I just don't know if that's what God has in store for me, because now I done learned my lesson. You know, I can ask for something, but God might have something even better in store for me. And at the end of the day, I want what God wants. You know, that's what it means to be obedient to the Lord, and that's what it means to be a soldier for God, because you got to understand that God is the captain, he's the lieutenant, he's the quarterback, he makes all the plays. It's my job to try to be as receptive to those plays as possible. And it's easy, well, it's simple enough to be receptive to the plays when you know that God's plan is always going to be better than mine, even if it don't look like it right away. When I was in New York City walking around, eating blueberries to sustain all day, drinking coffee to sustain all day. And by the way, I didn't have to live like that. I could have asked my parents for money. Both of my parents are hardworking people, maintaining a job, great, the most beautiful human beings in the world. I could have asked them for money, but I wanted to figure it out on my own because I knew I was going to be okay. It was never so bad. Even when it got to the point where I was like, I don't see the answer in this one, God. I knew that I could reach out to them if I needed to. But my point being is that I don't remember the point, to be honest with you. But I want to leave off with saying this. Life can become so beautiful that the thing that you think you're working your whole life towards, you'll get it done in a blip of a second. I've been here 4 or 5 years. That's a blip of a second in comparison to the totality of my life. I'm 31. I came here, I worked my way up through the New York City ladder. I networked, I found my way, I got a job. I started working on my brand. I done took too many trips to count on 4 hands. You know what I mean? Like, life has just been so good to me. And the thing that I didn't know the thing that I wasn't sure was possible to feel or experience in my lifetime, I've done it. And now God is making space in my life for new endeavors, for new journeys, and I'm excited to discover them. And so I just say that to say, I want you to keep your faith. Please, if you don't do nothing else, keep your faith. Believe. It's okay that you get tired sometimes. We all get tired. There were days where I got tired too. And there was days where I didn't believe anymore too. Or at least I was questioning my belief and I was questioning myself. You know, it's so unfortunate that we have a 100% track record of surviving everything that has come against us, and yet every time we come up on something new, we doubt ourselves like we ain't defeat everything else that tried to defeat us. Every single thing that tried to put you down, you still standing. And some of us might not be standing, you know, some of us might be defeated mentally, spiritually. And that's okay too, because I want you to know that when you get ready, you can get up. I feel like I sound real head ass on some preacher shit right now, but I hope that's a blessing to somebody, and I hope that resonates. I didn't know if it was possible for somebody like me to come to a New York City and live this creative lifestyle. I always thought that was only going to be something I could get a feeling of when I watched the movies, when I listened to the music, when I flipped through the magazine, because at that time, magazines were, you know, a thing. And magazines curate aesthetic, no different than Pinterest, except Pinterest is just a lot better and it's on the internet. But like, I'm living through these mediums and I'm channeling the life that I really want to live for myself. And I didn't think it could be for me because my teachers told me that I was dumb. My teachers told me that I belong in special needs classes, and I was in summer school every year. And I always made bad grades, you know? I never had good report cards. I was the kid that was trying to get the person with the good handwriting in school to sign my mom's signature so she didn't have to see it. I was the kid that was trying to check the mail when I got home so my mom didn't see it. I was the kid that was trying to look at the call log from the school and delete it so my mom couldn't see it. I was that kid. So I didn't believe in myself. And to see that God has reinforced his belief in me and helped me see my worth, that I am worthy. I used to think that I wasn't worthy. I thought that I was dumb because my 5th grade teacher told us that you're probably not going to go to college. And I believed it. And I didn't tell my parents because adults are the authority, right? If an adult said they're smarter than you, so it must be true. These are the things that I believe. But you just be faithful because life changes. And now I'm not perfect, but I'm so confident. I'm constantly being reinforced by a new community, not even the community that I come from in Dallas. Like, Dallas is the smallest percentage of analytic that I see on my analytics. It's the smallest. It's so small in totality to the New York City analytic that is growing bigger and bigger. You know, like at this point, I probably know more people in New York City than I know in Dallas, and I grew my whole life up in Dallas. So life continues to get better. Life continues to become promising, and it will surprise you. And just keep going. Keep going so that you can see the point where life surprises you, because I'm thinking California gonna be next for me, man. I don't know. I'm thinking California gonna be the move. But this time when I go to California, seeing New York City, I found my way to work at WTF, which was like a life dream. And I'm forever grateful for Weezy and Alex, forever, because they helped me change my life. But the next part of my life, I wanna be self-employed. I've seen a lot of millionaires. I've been around a lot of millionaires. I've talked to a lot of millionaires. I talk to a lot of influencers and people who run and own their own content businesses. And when I see them, I see that they're doing nothing that I can't do for myself. I don't know everything, but I have a discipline and a willingness to learn. And I'm gonna get it. Listen, if I got this far, ain't nothing else I can't have. That's what I've proven to myself. That's why you gotta keep going, so you can develop that kind of confidence. If I could get this far, then how much further can I not go? I didn't even know that I could do this. And then you get here and then you realize, like, oh, this ain't nothing compared to the other shit that people do. People spending $5,000, $20,000 just to make content for a month, every month. And that's what they spending, so imagine what they making. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, y'all, we're gonna get this day started. I'm grateful to God. Life's not perfect. I'm not always grateful, but I try my best to remind myself that I have so many reasons to be grateful. Like, for example, I'm wearing this t-shirt right now. I wanted to have merch for such a long time. And this is a really, really big size. Shout out to my nigga Mike Press. I don't know why he gave me a size this big. This feels like an XXL, but you know what? I'm gonna wear it because this is my shit. This is my brand. I'm not buying niggas' brands no more. I'm lying. I will be buying people's brands. But for the most part, if I don't love that shirt, I'm gonna be making my own shirts, because now it's about becoming the boss. Now it's about making the little steps to put yourself in position to receive. I'm tired of being a consumer. I'm ready to be a seller. And I'm building this brand, and I'm using my podcast to create this brand. It's a self-development podcast, right? And when people see the shirt, I don't want them to buy the shirt necessarily because they think the shirt is so dope and it's so amazing. I want them to buy the shirt because they know about the values that are aligned and attached to the brand. What's up?
Welcome. Oh, nice. Oh. Were you with Leah?
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
You don't remember?
Was our
You don't
host
remember?
Leah?
What was that?
Leah at the sign or no, right?
Karen, short.
Yes, that's true. But there's a reason for that, and it's because it's so beautiful out there, and
Right.
I feel like we've created a space where we really own. And sometimes before when I don't have a beard and I don't look.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
See you later.
Okay, and then Clara's gonna figure out how we can start booking over here. Cause it's
Oh.
not available. I sent her like a screen recording.
Really? Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Just text me. Yo, welcome back to another episode of Halfway Up, and I call it Halfway Up because you're never finished rising. And today I gotta make this episode super quick because I don't got a lot of time, okay? I got another show coming into this room, and then I gotta leave this studio and then go back downtown to the Soho location. So I gotta make this quick. This episode is about extending your parents' grace. Parents need the same thing. And let's keep that in mind as we go through all the. And let's just keep that in mind as we get ready to move into this conversation. So the first thing that I want you to think about is you gotta consider. You gotta consider these things before you judge your parents. A lot of fathers, you gotta consider these things before you judge your parents. A lot of parents couldn't be good parents because their parents wasn't good parents to them. It kind of goes two ways. Either your parents wasn't shit, and so you become not shit yourself, or your parents wasn't shit, and you was like, never, I would never. Or it was like your parents not shit, and I would not allow my kid to go through the same thing that I went through. But you only get two kind of people. You gotta consider what your grandparents are like. Your grandparents might have been, you think your parents bad, your grandparents might have been even worse. They might have been way fucking worse, man. But, and again, what was society like when your and again, what was society like? And at the end of the day, you didn't ask to be here, so I'm not asking. And at the end of the day, you did not ask to be here, so I'm not trying to necessarily throw them a pity party. But what I am saying is that all right, so now I'm on my way to the Soho location. About to go downtown, about to work another show. This show is gonna be with Vinny from Jersey Shore. A lot of y'all probably remember him. You never know what you're gonna deal with in this podcasting space, man. You never know who you're gonna see. You never know whose path you're gonna cross. You know, it's a beautiful world. It's like, you think Hollywood is Los Angeles, but in a lot of ways, Hollywood is New York City, man. In a lot of ways. Oh shit, let me cross the street before I die. Okay, I didn't die. So, anyway, I don't know if I'm gonna keep that episode. I don't know if it's good enough to keep, but that's life, man. You know, that's why they say you gotta fall in love with the process. Even though I ain't gonna say hate, but even though I don't necessarily like that I rushed and I put all that energy into it, just to maybe have to do it again. But if that's what it takes to get the right product and then you resonate with somebody and possibly change their life, isn't it all worth it then? Package got here, man. I've been waiting on this to get here. So if you book at WTF, then you know our bathrooms have plunges attached to them. Some midnight organic right there. Pretty cool, man. Details, man. Details. They matter. They matter. Come on, man. And I like the little yellow, just, I don't know what you call these things that keep the belt together, the belt loop. You know what I mean? Little details that matter, man. Say midnight organic on it. I'm learning, man. What's your alternative? Why don't you get your phone and go on your way? Oh, it's like, no, it's right there. It's like a small water.
Oh, but I just think it's
Well, it's rare. I think Staten Island is a rarity.
Yeah.
Because the white guys there are so rugged and they're on like Percocets and you know what I mean?
And I mean, not to make it too local, but Staten Island, Howard Beach, Middle Village, Pelham in the Bronx, like, I feel like those communities, all the white guys are saying, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Alright, so officially done with my recordings here in Soho. Just recorded with Vinny from Jersey Shore. And to my surprise, he had Rory and Mal as guests, so that was cool. And yeah, all my work here at Soho is done. Now it's time to go back uptown to Midtown. It's been a long day, man. It really has, but it's been a good day, you know? It's a good day. Sometimes it's easy to get in the moment of the flow. You know, they always talk about being the moment, but sometimes you're so in the moment that you don't realize the bigger picture, right? If you take a step back and you realize, like, you know what I do for a living is pretty fucking cool. Like, it's work at the end of the day, it's still work, but it's good work though. You know, like I've mopped floors before, you know what I mean? Like, I've been a maid before. I was a maid for one day and then I quit, but I've done some shit to get $1. I used to stock makeup and deodorant at Walmart, which is where I met A$AP Rocky for the first time, and then since then I met him 4 other times. But I'm removed from that moment in my life where I'm not stocking makeup no more. I'm not stocking baby clothes at Once Upon a Child anymore. I'm not making smoothies for people at North Park Mall in Dallas at Jamba Juice. Now I'm in the likeness of people that have been on television and people who have probably made millions of dollars, you know? And you gotta remember that, you know, work is still work, but at the end of the day, you gotta center in and count your blessings. And so I don't wanna go back up Midtown. I would rather go home after this, but couldn't get the other engineer to cover that shit for me. And so we're gonna do what we gotta do, because regardless, we still blessed, and I wanna appreciate my blessings as often as I can remind myself to do. So that's what we got to get ready to do.
Bro, my followers want me to record a vlog, so I'm telling them all the unnecessary stuff I'm doing today.
Alright, so the host came, but the guests went to the Soho location, the location that I just came from. So the show never happened. And because the show never happened, I had some time to look over the footage from the episode that I tried to record earlier. And it's not good enough, y'all. It's not good enough, y'all. And it is currently, what time is it right now? It's currently 10:13. Now there's 2 choices I can make. I could either record it now, because why not, right? If I record it now, then I don't have to worry about trying to cram it in at another time. Or, and it's late, right? Or I could go home. I can go home, I can get some sleep, I can get rested. I got another show at 10 a.m. in the morning. I'm gonna be right back on the grind at 10 a.m. But I'm gonna record it again. And I'm gonna try not to spend a whole lot of time here tonight, but what I am gonna try to do is, this time I just don't wanna rush. I got the other one, you know what I mean? Like, if for some reason I don't like this one, I still have the other one I can compare. But I gotta get it right, because at the end of the day, like, the purpose of the podcast is to deliver value. And the last one, I rushed it way too fast, and I feel like I wasn't really nailing that value. I think it's a great subject. I think it's a great topic. And I think if I do it the right way, I can nail it and I can really resonate with some people. I can't rush this shit, man. You know, like, what I'm trying to get out of this, I can't rush it. And it's going to take some nights where you're not going to be able to get the full amount of sleep that you want to get. First of all, I haven't got a full 7-8 hours of sleep in 3 years. That's one. And, you know, I'm a sleepy type person. I like to get my rest, but this ain't gonna be that night. I gotta get this content. So let's do it. Man, welcome back to another episode. Man, welcome back to the Halfway Up. Man, welcome back to the Halfway Up podcast, and I'll call it half. All right, man. Yo, welcome back to the Halfway Up podcast, and I'll call it Halfway Up because Yo, welcome back to the Halfway Up podcast, and I call it Halfway Up because you never finish rising. And today, but I was watching that though. No, that's not it. having to live through segregation, having to go through having to use black, living in a, and that's a wrap, man. I recorded the episode on extending your parents' grace for the second time today. But I feel way better about it this time, man, because I wasn't rushed. I could really build on those points that I really wanted to make sure got through clearly. And I was on my time. I could repeat myself as many times as I needed to. Obviously, these are a lot of the things that I edit out. Some of these things you'll see in the vlog. You're watching the vlog right now. But I feel good about it. And I never really know what it's gonna sound like, because once I put the final touches on it, and I cut certain things out so I can create this flow. Like I got this flow in my mind that I expect from myself. Once I find that and I create that, I don't know what to expect, but I think it's gonna be good. I got a good feeling about it. I mean, I got a pretty good feeling about it. So, hey, bro, listen. Whatever you do, if it ain't right, do it again. You know what you're looking for. If it's not right, it's not right, man. And yeah, it's late, and yeah, I gotta, wake up early, and I'm not gonna get as much sleep, but it was worth it, man, because at the end of the day, I added another very valuable piece to my catalog. And this work is important to me because one day my children will listen to these podcasts, and other people that have yet to meet me will realize that they want to meet me, or they want to be around me because of the type of information that I'm putting inside of this podcast. These conversations are going to speak for me in rooms that I can't even be in. And that's why podcasting is so important, man. Anyway, it's time to go home. The day is over. It's been a long day. It's been a long vlog. I've been vlogging all day. But if y'all like it, I'm gonna keep doing it. I hope y'all watch this shit. There's so much work that go into this shit. So many people not gonna watch. You know how the YouTube retention rate, like after 30 seconds, skyrocket, it just plummet, you know what I mean? And it is what it is. That's the phase that I'm in right now, where I'm still having to show and prove. But I'm gonna do it because I'm here for the process. I enjoy the process, even when it's difficult. I don't dislike it enough to never get back on it. I recorded that whole episode, and then I had to record it all again, because that's what it means. That's what it means. Anyway, if you're watching this, I love you. Mom, Lauren, Marlon, Ricky, all my people. I love all of y'all. This is the Halfway Up Podcast. This is another vlog. I'm taking my ass home. I'm about to get some sleep. Hey, Alexa, turn the lights off.
Okay.